And also in this broadcast, we're being joined by Mr. R.K. Upadhyay, who's joining us live on this broadcast. Mr. R.K. Upadhyay is a senior journalist who's been watching this election very closely. Mr. Upadhyay, this of course is the moment. We're looking at the new Narendra Modi government taking its shape. And what we are looking at is that there are some big faces who continue to remain a key part of the Narendra Modi cabinet. At the same time, Narendra Modi has had to make accommodations of his alliance partners as well. What is your reading so far of the faces that have been brought in?
Well, Saleh, I think so far it has been a smooth affair for the Narendra Modi government, because this is for the first time that Prime Minister Modi is going to head a coalition government. In the first two terms of 2014 and 2019, his party had absolute majority in the parliament. But this time they fell short by about 32 seats. And that's the reason why they're dependent on a couple of other important allies. So which means that they need to share power with those parties. And you see, they made it very clear that the allies will get one cabinet rank minister and one minister of state. Initially, there was some resistance and they were demanding 3 to 4 seats. But I think they seem to have come around. And the swearing-in ceremony is still going on. It began on the dot. I mean, it's been going on at the forecourt of the magnificent Rashtrapati Bhavan,
right,
which was the old British bungalow, which has been converted into Rashtrapati Bhavan. And as you were saying, the old names are still there, and I don't see any changes happening in home. That is Mr. Amit Shah is holding, and defense, that is Rajnath Singh, finance, that is Srimati Sitaraman, and then the external affairs, Mr. Jaishankar. So these are the key ministries which I think Prime Minister Modi has made it non-negotiable. And
right, that's a big statement that you're making, Mr. Upadhyay. You're saying that Narendra Modi is not going to shuffle the key 4 ministers of his inner cabinet. That is Home Affairs, Amit Shah will continue, Rajnath Singh will remain the Defence Minister, Nirmala Sitaraman will be the Finance Minister, and Mr. Jaishankar will remain the Foreign Minister. You do not think that he will have to shuffle these members of his core cabinet?
Yes, that's right, yeah. Well, I think, he has been forced to accommodate, some important, dignitaries from the other parties. That is to be expected, because they are after all extending the support, and without their support, you will not have a majority. You have Telugu Desam Party, which has 16 members of parliament, and then Janata Dal United, which has 12. Without their support, it will be very difficult to run the government. Though there have been some 12 independents and others who have extended the support to the government, you need this a big chunk of parties which are supporting and which are part of the government. Fortunately for Mr. Modi, they all come around, and they are being sworn in right now.
Right. And also, there are 2 notable people who appear to be missing from the faces that are being sworn in, and that is Smriti Irani, who appears not to have made the cut this time round. And this is going to be a big face which will be missing from the Narendra Modi cabinet as things stand at the moment.
Well, Smriti Irani, as you know, she lost the election in Amethi, and usually person who has lost the election do not find a place in the cabinet unless they're very, very important. On the other hand, you have J.P. Nadda, who was the party president till now. He has made it into the cabinet, which means the Bharatiya Janata Party will have a new president. And then there are 2 former chief ministers, who have entered the cabinet. And very interesting that Chaban has been, Madhya Pradesh chief minister has been brought in as one of the, I think, senior ministers. Right. He will be there. And then Mohan Lal Khattar,
yes,
former chief minister of Haryana. These 2 are made to the cabinet. And it will be interesting to see what kind of roles these people will be given.
The fact that Shivraj Singh Chauhan, who had been the chief minister for so long in the state of Madhya Pradesh, and also Manohar Lal Khattar, a lot of the talk was that they had been removed and replaced because they had been cut down to their size. And the fact that they're now being inducted into the Modi 3.0 cabinet, does it show that Narendra Modi, of course, wants them in the centre because he prizes their administrative experience.
Absolutely. I think, especially in the case of Chauhan, he has been a former MP for 5 terms, and I don't forget. And he was a chief minister for 16 years in Madhya Pradesh. And he has delivered this time. 29 out of 29 from Madhya Pradesh. So there was no way they could, deny him a central ministership. And surprisingly, he has never been a cabinet minister at the center. So this will be his debut. And we need to see what kind of ministry he'll be getting because, he's one of the senior people in the party. So he's one of the new entrants as far as the Modi cabinet is concerned. And we need to see what ministry he'll be given.
That'll be very interesting to watch out for. Now, there is a lot of speculation that the Telugu Desam party wants this post of the Speaker of the Lok Sabha. Now, considering how crucial the Speaker's position is in a coalition government, do you think the BJP would be willing to cede that space?
Well, I don't think the BJP will agree to that demand because the Speaker's post is very, very important. And, there's no talk about it today. Yesterday we heard a little bit about it, but there's no talk about it today. And I don't think BJP will yield to that because, after all, they're a big party of 240 people. And the TDP having just 16 MPs, they've been stretching a little bit, hoping that they'll get one more ministership. Well, probably that was one of the reasons why they pushed this demand for speakership. I don't think they'll be serious about that.
All right, interesting. Now, what we're looking at, Mr. Upadhyay, is that leaders such as Jayant Chaudhary, they have also been accommodated. He's, of course, Charan Singh's grandson. The RLD has got about 2 seats, and it is set to have contributed to the BJP's alliance in the western part of the Uttar Pradesh. The fact that Narendra Modi is having to accommodate so many of his alliance partners, does it actually show that he is very concerned about keeping his flock together? How much do you think that is playing a role in the back of his mind as he has been expanding his cabinet?
On the contrary, I think this will be to the advantage of BJP and the Prime Minister because, see, now he has a rainbow cabinet. Unlike, just having the BJP MPs as ministers, now he has people from across the board. I think it's a good thing for the country. You see, he also has former Prime Minister Mr. Devegowda's son, Mr. Kumaraswamy, as one of the cabinet ministers. And surprisingly, I found he was one of the first 6 who was sworn in. So, which means that he will be getting an important portfolio in the Modi cabinet. So, this will be a rainbow cabinet, which will probably have, more variety and more acceptability across the country.
It's interesting that you brought up the name of H.D. Kumaraswamy. He's been pretty happy to have alliances both with the BJP and also with the Congress in the state of Karnataka in the past. This time around, of course, he fought the elections as an alliance partner of the Bharatiya Janata Party, and he's been sworn in as a cabinet minister. He's a former chief minister of the state of Karnataka and the son of the former Prime Minister H.D. Devegowda. Another aspect, Mr. Upadhyay, that will be talked about is what Narendra Modi said would be his style of governance and how the cabinet will look like this time round. Narendra Modi had stated that one of the key issues that has crippled governance in India is the size of the government, and therefore, in 2014, he had sworn in just 45 Council of Ministers. He had said that the number of ministers that he would have in his cabinet would be as minimum as possible. Later on, more ministers were, of course, added. But this time round, we, of course, expect perhaps the biggest Council of Ministers of the Modi era to be sworn in so far.
Well, we need to see what the final number will be. As of today, I think they have sworn in or being sworn in about 72 MPs as new ministers. So including 30 of the cabinet rank and 36 ministers of state and 5 ministers of state with independent charge.
Right.
So this is the first lot of ministers. There is a scope for expanding it, and we have to see how many more he will add. But I think knowing Mr. Modi, he will not expand it to beyond what is required.
The maximum limit that can be sworn in as the Council of Ministers is 15% of the total size of the Lok Sabha, which is about 81. So according to reports that are coming in, to the buzz that's doing the rounds, he could be swearing in as many as 72 members of the Council of Ministers. But compare that to what he swore in 2014, for instance. In 2014, he started off with just 45 Council of Ministers. In 2019, again, when he won an overwhelming thumping majority, he had just 58 Council of Ministers. So what does it now say that he's being made to swear in 72 members as Council of Ministers?
Now, don't forget, even in 2019, he had to expand his cabinet. And if I remember right, it went up to 69. So it is not that it remained at a low number. See, now you have allies who need to be also satisfied. And naturally, and you also want to keep the performing ministers. So he has kept faith in those who have performed in the last 2 terms. And he also wants to ensure that there is continuity. See, for a government in its 3rd term, it's very important to show that it has continuity, especially for foreign investors and who would like to see the policies being continued. And if you have change of ministers at the crucial ministries, then it will create problems for investment in the country. And Prime Minister Modi is very conscious of the fact that he needs to look after the investment and ensure that the economy grows at the pace at which it has been growing. He has targeted to take India to the 3rd largest economy in the world, and he wants to do it by 27, 28, and that will be the goal. Fortunately for him, his allies also have shared his thoughts. Chandrababu Naidu is among the foremost of the people who are in the forefront of reforms. He comes from Hyderabad,
right,
which is the IT capital immediately after Bangalore, and he, in fact, in the first meeting of the alliance partners, he was full of praise for the Prime Minister, and he said, under the leadership of the Prime Minister Modi, we will see India becoming not just 3rd largest, he was saying maybe even 1st or 2nd the largest economy in the world. So even the allies are gung-ho about this government working on economy, and that's a good sign.
All right, very interesting. Those are some of the big ambitions that the Narendra Modi government has, of course, set for itself to make India a Vikasit nation. That's a developed nation by 2047. And we have Ramnath Athavale, who's now taking oath at this moment. But Mr. Upadhyay, something that needs to be spoken about is the JDU and TDP. A lot of people are saying that they will, of course, throw their weight. They'll ensure that they demand and get their pound of flesh from the formation of this government. But looking at what has transpired so far, it does appear that both these parties, which are being headed by their respective chief ministers there, where Nitish Kumar is the chief minister and TDP's Supremo Chandrababu Naidu is the chief minister, they seem to be more content if they perhaps get a package and special status for their respective states rather than some plum cabinet post. What's your reading on that?
I think there has been probably some tacit understanding on these issues already. Otherwise, they wouldn't have just accepted one cabinet rank and one MOS. So, see, the Modi cabinet will not have much problem with giving a special package. Special status would be a bit of a problem because, there are certain parameters which have to be followed, very stringent ones, which, it will be difficult to exercise that because, there will be other states which will also demand the same thing. But you can always give a special package, looking at the projects that are